Welcome to part 3. So we know that comprar goes to compraba, and that compraba means 4 angles at once. I was buying, he was buying, she was buying, or it was buying. But we also have other angles to cover, and those are quite easy because they're all built upon this foundation of compraba. So first of all, let's tackle how we would get the angle of you. So now we're talking directly to Maria or to Pedro. So what happens is we take compraba, and for you, we add an S. This is something very familiar because it was happening a lot in other tenses that we covered as well. We add an S for you. So compraba for you were buying becomes comprabas. Here we have compraba plus the S. Comprabas stands for you were buying. Comprabas. How would you say you were buying it? Lo comprabas. You weren't buying it. No lo comprabas. Let's try getting that same angle now with hablar. So we know that hablar goes to hablaba. And again, hablaba means I was speaking, he was speaking, she was speaking, or it was speaking. So now what we want to express is you were speaking. So once again, we take hablaba and we add an S. So you were speaking would be hablabas. You hear that sound at the end. This is how we define you, the angle of you, hablabas. We can also quickly get the angle of they because we take hablaba and we just add an N. So they were talking or they were speaking would be hablaban, hablaban. Now we have the N sound at the end. Hablaban for they were speaking. Try to say it now for yourself. They were speaking. Hablaban. They were speaking with me. Hablaban conmigo. They were speaking with me this morning. Hablaban conmigo esta mañana. How would you say you were speaking with me this morning? Hablabas conmigo esta mañana. What about asking, were you speaking with her this morning? ¿Hablabas con ella esta mañana? Now we have just one angle left, and that is for we. So again, we go back, take hablaba, and we add the famous classic sound for we, mos. So we get something for we were speaking now would be hablábamos. We have hablaba and mos. Hablábamos, we were speaking. Hablábamos. Try to say, we were speaking today. Hablábamos hoy. We were speaking to them. Les hablábamos. We were speaking to him. Le hablábamos. How would you say we weren't speaking with her today? No hablábamos con ella hoy. Let's put this all on one slide now, and remember that in this instance we're working with an AR verb, hablar. So going to hablaba, we have 4 angles. I, he, she, and it was speaking. To that foundation, we create all the other angles. So by adding an S, hablabas, we get you were speaking. Or by adding an N, hablaban, we get they were speaking. And if we add mos, hablábamos, we get we were speaking. So the key is to first get this foundation based upon whether it's an AR verb or it's not an AR verb. We have aba and ia. And then from there, it becomes very easy to build out the rest of all the other angles. Hablaba, hablabas, hablábamos, and hablaban.